Welcome to Texas A&M Commerce School of Social Work. I am Rebecca Judd. I am the department chair and an associate professor, and I'm going to be your host for this orientation today. So you can just sit back, listen to it, go through the slides. At the end, if you have any questions, any concerns, you're going to have contact information, and you'll be able to reach out to myself, to Miss Janice Circles, to Mr. Brian Brumley, Miss Vicki Anderson, or whoever you need to reach out to get your questions answered. So sit back, enjoy the presentation, and again, if you have any questions, you'll be able to ask those through email or phone calls once you're finished here. I always like to begin orientation with presenting just a little bit about the future of the profession of social work. Obviously, you've chosen this route so that you can expand your professional opportunities, and the MSW certainly does that for you. MSWs in the Texas area in the United States are very much in demand. You can find MSWs virtually in all aspects of human interaction, human development, human agencies. We do so many different things, and we're a very versatile profession. Some of the things that are emerging in our profession right now is an area called environmental justice, and this is an area where social work has begun to look at the importance of becoming active in issues related to planet Earth. So extending our person in an environment perspective beyond just the individuals, families, groups, communities, and include the physical planet. We're seeing through climate change more and more climatic disasters in which, similar to Hurricane Harvey, and vulnerable populations that we tend to work with are usually at most risk in these situations. Financial risk, health risk, mental health risk. So the profession of social work is beginning to expand in these areas and become an active part of finding solutions. Another area that I think is interesting that's beginning to develop, and we had a student who actually, prior to coming to us, had done a field practicum in working with a veterinarian's office, and she worked with families there who were grieving the loss of a pet. I know my daughter has a colleague in the Houston area, and she contracts with the Houston Zoo, and she works with the zookeepers and the people there to help them work through emotional issues related to the animals. So that's a very new, unique area for social work. And then an area that I'm interested in that I think is going to be evolving has to do with social work and artificial intelligence. Social and companion robots are becoming on the scene. They're very big in the Asian countries, and they're now becoming a part of the Western culture. And these in preliminary studies have been shown to decrease depression in individuals in nursing homes, as well as reduce aggressive behaviors in Alzheimer's patients by using some of these companion robots with the elderly. So that's an area that I'm very excited about. Social work continues to be very strong in the traditional areas of mental health, criminal justice, community activism, political activism, healthcare, the variety of healthcare settings that are available, school settings, and along with traditional mental health agency settings. So social work continues to be very strong, and the demand for social workers is continuing to grow. So job prospects are excellent for you once you earn your degree. So for today, while you're listening to the orientation, we're just going to look at some various aspects in terms of actually why you're having to listen to the orientation, some programmatic features, curriculum features, expectations related to ethical conduct and behavior in field settings. This is going to kind of be a down and dirty in terms of quick look at the overall program, but it's something that you can go back to frequently as questions arise, and you might find the information here, or you might know a better question to ask to get the information you're going to need as you progress through the program. So first of all, you're listening to this today to meet the requirements for the graduate school, accreditation requirements, and to help ensure consistent information is received by all new incoming students. So this is why we have an orientation, and that students are required to attend the orientation either physically face-to-face or listen to the orientation prior to being permitted for classes. We're going to look at some specifics about the School of Social Work. We're going to look at some curriculum specifics. We're going to look at graduate school and department policy and expectations. And throughout this, there's going to be some helpful miscellaneous information, as well as at the end of the presentation that's going to be available for you. Again, some of this may be a little overwhelming and a little confusing. You can go back, you can listen to this as many times as you want to, pick out some specific areas that you want to ask questions about in the future, or search up for more information on. So while this may be a little quick for you right now, you can always go back and review this again. First of all, the School of Social Work is located within the College of Education and Human Services. If you go to the main website and you find the College of Education and Human Services, that's one way to find our programs, because that's where we're housed under. Also in the College of Education and Human Services is counseling, psychology, education, such as special education, teacher certifications, nursing, and then social work we're in there. We have a BSW program, the undergraduate program, which is offered on the main campus there in Commerce, as well as on the Metroplex campus in the Mesquite area. And we've just received our approval from SACS and from CSWE, and we're going to be again offering the BSW program at Preston Ridge on the Frisco campus, fall 2020. So we're excited about expanding to that area and taking our quality program over there and offering students that opportunity. The MSW Foundation, which is the generalist program, and the beginning for the MSW for those who do not hold a BSW, is right now is only offered as an online program option. We may in the future go back to providing both options, a face-to-face and an online, but right now we're moving forward with just an online program option for the MSW Foundation. When you get into the MSW Advanced Generalist Practice curriculum, after you've completed your foundation sequence, you have the opportunity to go face-to-face if that's what you choose to do. We offer it on the main campus, and it's on Mondays, so classes are all day, one day, and it's on Mondays. At the Metroplex campus, we offer it all day on Tuesdays, or we offer some evening opportunities there. At the Czech Center in McKinney, we have been offering classes there. They've been on Thursday all day. The last couple of semesters, we've not had enough students interested there to be able to offer classes on that campus, but it is an option if we have the interest available to us. So right now, the foundation program is fully online. That's the first 24 hours that you'll be taking, and then when you move into the Advanced Generalist Practice, you can choose between continuing in the fully online program, or you may want to switch to a face-to-face program option. You have to choose one or the other. You can't switch back and forth, but right now you're going to be in the online program option. We're going to look at the mission statement, and you can find the mission statement on the website, but as many of you know, mission statements guide programs. You'll learn that too as you're working in different agencies. The mission statement is very important. And so for us at Texas A&M School of Social Work, it is our mission to educate professional social workers from an advanced generalist perspective with the knowledge, the skills, and the values to be visionary leaders, change agents who will utilize and develop resources to improve the lives of all people in a global world. So that's what we're looking at as we move forward in terms of our mission. This is what we want to accomplish and be able to provide to society to better improve the lives of all people, and not just in Western society, but throughout the global world. We are accredited. We're an accredited program. That means we're accredited by SACS, which is the Southern Association Council of Schools that accredits the entire university, and we're fully accredited by the Council on Social Work Education. Why is this important? Well, first of all, you need to understand in the state of Texas and many other states in the United States, you cannot call yourself a social worker or work in a job that is titled as a social worker unless you are licensed as a social worker. That means you have to pass the state licensure exam before you can engage in that professional status. You can only sit for the licensure exam if you graduate and earn your degree from a program that is accredited by the Council on Social Work Education. There are several programs out there, even in our area, that are offering social work degrees. However, they're not accredited programs, so therefore they're not any good in terms of being able to sit for the licensure, get your license, and being able to call yourself a social worker. So you have chosen an excellent program coming to Texas A&M School of Social Work. We are fully accredited. We were reaffirmed 2 years ago, and we will go up to be reaffirmed again on our accreditation in 2026, I believe. So we're in good standing and ready to move forward with your program. This next slide just lists the basic faculty that you may be interacting with when you're in the program. Again, I'm the department head. I'm an associate professor here also, so I teach as well as try to manage in the department area. Mr. Brian Brumley, you'll become very well acquainted with him this fall and throughout the rest of your academic career because he is our field director, and he will be working with you intensely on your field practicum placements, and we're going to talk about those a little bit later. Dr. Linda Openshaw is a professor. You may encounter her. She teaches mental health classes, and she teaches some supervision classes. Miss Lindsay Norris is our BSW director, and she's the advisor and the Title IV coordinator. She teaches one elective at the master's level. Otherwise, you probably won't have any interaction with her. Dr. Gracie Brownell, Miss Alma Hernandez, Dr. Benjamin May, Dr. Mikado Sierra, Dr. Moore, and Dr. Smith, you will encounter. Dr. Marcella Smith is actually the MSW director and the advisor, and she's going to be your go-to person when you have any questions regarding your degree plans, your progression through the program, if you want to change anything. She's the go-to person for that. The others are instructors, and you may have them in classes. Miss Dawn Nelson actually is an instructor at our Metroplex location. Only if you attend the Metroplex location would you actually encounter Miss Nelson. Two very important people in our department, Miss Vicki Anderson. She actually works very closely with Mr. Brian Brumley and coordinates the field placements and communication and answers questions related to that. She's also there for support of faculty in the office. Very much available to you if you have any questions. Miss Janice Circles, which most of y'all have been in touch with, or I guess all of you have, and she manages the admission process and the Title IV implementation, which has to do with a state contract we have with Child Protective Services or Department of Protective and Family and Regulatory Services. Both of those are go-to people that can certainly answer your questions or get you to the right person to answer your question. This is just some information about how to reach us, and that we do have a main line, and that's answered there in the Department of Social Work. Faculty, we do have phone lines. I will tell you the best way to get in touch with faculty if you're needing to is to email them. Because we are on multiple campuses and we have obligations within the community many times, we're not always in our office to answer our phones or to pull messages off our phones. So if you need to get in touch with a faculty member, one of the best ways to do that is going to be to email them and give them time to respond. Just because you email them does not mean they're going to respond immediately. Again, they may not be sitting right in front of their computer. But there are phone numbers that you can contact them if you need to. I just really encourage you to use email to contact them. And on this particular slide, on the How to Reach Us slide, one correction, Dr. Openshaw is not the MSW director. Miss Marcella Smith is the MSW director, and again, contacting her through her email is going to be your best option. Now we're going to take a few minutes and we're going to focus on some curriculum and the sequence, and this can be very confusing initially as you're entering the program. But we have degree plans that are very tight. They're go through a progression, a sequence, and if you follow that degree plan, you won't have any problem at all progressing through the program at the pace that you want to progress. Anytime you fall off of that degree plan, there can be some challenges that you're going to have to overcome, and it will delay your graduation date. So we're going to go through this curriculum sequence. Again, on the degree plans, you're going to have it. The other thing that you can do is, if you're curious about what the classes offer or what content is there, on our website, if you actually go to the School of Social Work website, you can see a link that is to your left that says PDF Forms. If you click on the PDF Forms, it's going to open up some options for you, and in those options you can access our course syllabus. We keep the templates up there with the basic content in there. The schedule's not going to be there. That's going to change and depend upon faculty, but the content, the approved assignments, the expectations, all of that, you can find that at any point in time on our website. So let's start at looking at the Foundation Generalist Program, which is the program that you're going to be entering on August 26th when classes start. The Foundation sequence is for those students who do not have a BSW degree from an accredited CSWE accredited program. You can, if you start in the spring or the summer, you are only able to start part-time, and this is because of the way the courses are offered. You're starting in the fall semester, so you have the option of beginning full-time or beginning part-time. If you begin full-time, you can actually complete 4 classes in the fall, 4 classes in the spring, and move into the advanced generalist practice component in the summer. If you go part-time, you will complete 2 classes in the fall, 2 classes in the spring, 2 classes in the summer, the next 2 classes the fall, the next 2 classes the spring, and then in that next summer, you would enter the advanced program. So just know if you choose between part-time and full-time, it affects the length of time you'll be in the program. So our foundation students complete a 2-year program with a full-time load of 4 courses per semester. That means if you go full-time throughout the whole program, you can graduate in 2 years. Or if you go part-time, which is 2 courses per semester, you can graduate in 4 years. Either option is 100% perfectly acceptable. It's whatever works best for you. Foundation track is 24 hours. So you actually have to complete this full 24 hours prior to moving into the advanced generalist concentration track, which is an additional 36 hours. Once you complete the whole program and earn your MSW degree, you will have a total of 60 hours at graduation. This is a benefit for those of you entering through the foundation program. If you are interested in getting your LCDC or your Licensed Chemical Dependency Counselor, if you have 48 graduate hours and an MSW, the LCDC waives the 3,000 hours of supervision. So once you earn your degree, you'll have enough graduate hours. You can apply for the LCDC-I, which is the intern, and then you're eligible to sit for the licensing exam at any point in time. You do not have to do the 3,000 hours of supervision. So this is a benefit for those of you coming through the foundation track because it gives you those additional hours. If you're coming through the advanced concentration, you only have 36 hours, so you lack 12 hours towards the 48 hours required to be able to waive those supervision hours. So that's just a little aside because a lot of our students are interested in getting that LCDC. I got mine that way because I had enough graduate hours, and so I just sat for the exam. So if you have questions about that, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions as you move through the program. All foundation courses, again, at this time are taught online. We just received this approval beginning this fall, so this is relatively new to us. But right now, the foundation sequence, the first 24 hours, is actually taught fully online. So again, in the fall, when you start full-time, these are the classes you'll be taking this fall. You'll take Social Work 501, Social Work 511, Social Work 531, Social Work 541. You successfully complete those courses, then in the spring, you'll register for Social Work 503, 513, 521, and 553. Two notations here. Number one, you have to successfully complete all of the classes to move forward. So say you're not successful in Social Work 531. You just are devastated about research and you're not successful in it. In the spring, you can take 503, 513, and 521, but you cannot move into field. And then you will actually have to wait until next fall to repeat 531 and then move on into the spring to complete your field. So if you're not successful in a course, then it will prolong you a year because of the way the courses are offered. The second caveat here is pay attention to the field. Social Work 553 is a field seminar, and while that's generally a 1-hour course, you get 3 hours credit, but it's like a 1-hour meeting per week, and online it's going to involve some discussions and some things like that. You are going to be in an agency, experiencing that agency for 2 days a week. Your field practicum, which is the spring semester, is for, I believe it's 160 hours, and you have to do that before you can move into the advanced generalist program. So think about that, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more a little later in this presentation. So once you complete all of those classes, Then you're going to be able to move into the advanced generalist program, and that would be during the summer if you follow this fall start time full time. If you begin part-time in the fall, again, that's perfectly okay. This will be your sequence. So the first fall, which will be this fall, you'll take 501, 511. In the spring, you'll take 503, 513. In the summer, you'll take 510 and 597. The second year, you're going to take 531, 541. In the spring, you're going to take 521 and 553. In that summer, this says no classes, but actually you would have a couple of classes that you can take. So this is incorrect on here because that second summer is when you'd be moving into your advanced generalist practice. And let's take a moment and look at the AGP concentration program, which is what you enter once you complete these first 24 hours. Our advanced generalist practice emphasis is to prepare advanced practitioners, again, for professional practice that's going to include critical thinking skills, theoretical frameworks of human relationships, differential interventions that can be used at all system levels, which is micro, meso, macro, and it may be in a rural or an urban environment. So we actually come from this generalist perspective because our students, typically we find our students are going to work in a variety of settings and at a variety of levels. And many of our students will enter into some type of supervision or maybe move on into individual practice, maybe have a research orientation. So there's a variety of things that our students do. So we come from a generalist perspective. We don't have direct path concentrations like some programs will have a child welfare track or a mental health track or a community track. Our students get some perspectives on all of that. So it's not one track, but you will have the knowledge and the skills to actually be able to step into any level of environment to provide interventions. During your program, you're going to be exposed to in-depth knowledge of practice models that relates to individuals and families, that relates to small groups, that's going to relate to organizations, and that's going to relate to communities. And related to each of these environments and these areas, you're going to be exposed to skills related to providing supervision, to being in an administrative position, related to policy, understanding policy and impacting policy, whether it be at an organization level, community level, state level, or federal level. Direct practice with individuals, families, groups, communities, and program evaluation, which is the research component. And program evaluation is very important for social work practice. So what we're going to help you do is develop an increased capacity to be able to build or link the scarce resources in our environments. Resources are scarce and everybody fights for them. And this is not just monetary resources. This can actually be human capital. It can be physical type of resources such as buildings, geography. But resources tend to be scarce, and we tend to work from this model so that we can learn to build additional resources or link what resources we have out there to have a greater impact. We want you to gain competence to use and engage in the evidence-based practice. All practice from a social work perspective should be evidence-based, which means that we have empirical evidence behind what we do to show that we truly can make a difference in individuals' lives, and a readiness for leadership and program development. Our students will be ready, and we want you to be ready, to go out there and be those change agents, be those leaders, and develop those programs and progress programs so that they meet the ever-changing needs of societies. The Advanced Standing Concentration Curriculum begins once you've completed your first 24 hours of your foundation, or if you have that BSW degree from an accredited institution, which you're beginning the 24 hours of foundation because you don't meet that requirement. There are 12 classes within that Advanced Standing Curriculum, which is a total of 36 hours. Now, again, in our Advanced Standing Curriculum, we do offer face-to-face options at Commerce and Mesquite and McKinney as needed, as I explained in the beginning, and they're offered on full one day, 9 in the morning till 9 in the evening, with the exception of Mesquite, where you can actually go one full day or you can break it up and go a few evenings a week. This is going to just be a brief look at the AGP degree plans. Once you've finished the foundation component, you'll move into the advanced generalist practice. And again, our degree plans are very straightforward. They're very streamlined. If you follow them, you will progress through the program within the time frame that you should. If you get off your degree plan at any point in time, you're going to need to get with Dr. Smith to see how that's going to impact your completion date. So depending on whenever you start in the concentration, and if you go full-time fall, full-time spring, complete your foundation, then you would be starting in the summer full-time, and that would be 507, 510, 597, and 554. Again, pay attention. There's a field component there. So once you get into the advanced generalist prep concentration, you're going to be in a field setting for 3 semesters. Generally, that's a couple of days a week. It's the same field agency, but you do it across 3 semesters. This breaks it down to part-time. So if you want to continue part-time after you've completed your foundation course and you begin it in the summer, you'll take those 2 classes, 507, 510. Then you'll take 508, 509, 505, 506. See, it's going to break it up there between your spring and your summer and your fall semesters for your part-time. Again, we want you to try to stay in this sequence so you won't miss any classes, because we don't offer every class every semester. The only 2 courses that we do require that you take in a sequential manner, meaning one semester after the other, is the 590 and the 595. You have to take 595 immediately following 590, and you have to successfully complete 590 to be able to enroll in Social Work 595. This is our research sequence. So you begin with learning to develop a research proposal, then you learn how to gather data, and then you learn how to analyze the data. And this takes 2 semesters. What we have found is consistency is important here. If students take one semester and don't take the next one for a couple of semesters, they forget what they've done in the first one. So it's kind of like a long program over 2 semesters. And the other caveat here is you have the same faculty member. So you will have the same faculty for 590 and 595, which again provides consistency across these components. But these are the only 2 classes that we have that require this. Again, you'll find the degree plans under this says from the resource page. Actually, you're going to look under content and you're going to find the degree plan. And I think it says degree plan 1, which is for full-time, degree plan 2, which is for part-time. It has the foundation sequence and it has the AGP sequence on there. Note, the degree plan, this is your guide for completing the program. Keep it. Follow it. If you deviate from it, get with Dr. Smith to find out how that's going to impact your completion date. Any changes or modifications that you make will delay or alter the completion date of your program. If you start full-time, you want to go to part-time, that changes the sequence of everything. If you begin part-time and want to go to full-time, that changes the sequence of everything. If you are enrolled in a class and you decide to drop it one semester, that changes the sequence of everything. If you're unsuccessful in a class, that changes the sequence of everything. So for any significant change that you have with your coursework, you need to get advice from Dr. Smith so that you will know how that's going to impact moving forward in the program. Because that's a significant change, if you want to change your degree plan, then we ask that you submit it in writing 1 full semester prior to the changes so that you can be advised on the best options for that, because sometimes we can look outside of some different things to help you with whatever's going on and the reason you need to change your degree plan. If you can't do it 1 full semester ahead of time, things happen. We still need that in writing, and then you're going to need to contact Dr. Marcella Smith to make sure that this is taken care of on the other end, so that as you're permitted for classes, it reflects any changes you've made in your degree plan. So degree plan changes can include campus location, and again, at this point in time, you're in the fully online program. Then you're going to select whether you want the face-to-face program option or online program option. It can encompass changing from full-time to part-time or part-time to full-time, retaking courses, deferring a semester. So again, it's your responsibility to keep up with that degree plan and to seek out and ask questions if you change that degree plan. Do not assume that we're going to just know that you've changed based on the classes you're taking. This needs to be communicated, because we do run into problems each semester where students did not fully understand the impact it was going to have on their completion date when they made a change in their degree plan. And the caveat here is all coursework on your degree plan must be completed, or you must be in the final semester of completing your degree plan before you can apply for graduation. So in that last semester, when you're taking those last courses on your degree plan, is when you're going to apply for graduation. Okay, let's talk a little bit about registering for classes. First of all, know all social work students must be permitted for classes. If you're not a social work student, you cannot enroll in our courses. So therefore, all of our students receive permits from Janice Circles. She emails you a permit request worksheet. You provide what you want on the worksheet, what classes you want to enroll in, and you send it back to her. She then permits you and lets you know that you're permitted for those classes. This is a win-win for us. It seems a little bit frustrating for students at times, but this helps us manage our enrollment. It makes sure that we have all class sections that are necessary for students to get to stay on course with their degree plans and their completion dates. And we can make sure that students don't get enrolled in the wrong classes. So we control our class size, we control the degree plans, and make sure students are enrolled in the correct classes for this process. So please know you cannot register for classes until you have been permitted into those classes by Ms. Circles. After you've done this orientation, after you've sent her the paperwork back that needs to be sent, she will send you out a worksheet for the permits. You will send that back to her, then she will permit you. That takes a few days, so don't panic once you finish the orientation that you can't register. We have to go through this process. It's important. It's how we maintain some of the integrity of our program. You will never have a time when you cannot get into the class you need to graduate. Don't worry about that. We make sure everybody stays on their degree plans this way, and that we have the classes that are necessary for students to be able to take. For fall 2019, these are just some of the dates to be aware of. Last day to register without a late fee is August 23rd. We will have everything in place for you so that you can register prior to that date. August 26th is the fall first class day. And know that on this first class day, that means your online courses will be open to you at that point in time. Now, each instructor is going to have a little bit different requirement in terms of when you sign on, when you need to be present, when you need to submit assignments, when you need to do discussions. There is not a required time that you meet that you meet electronically, or what we call in a group, where you can have live interaction. It's actually up to the faculty member to set those up. But you need to sign on this first full class day. You need to become aware with the content in your programs. You need to go through those shells. You need to know where everything's at. On September 11th is the fall census date. If you have not signed into your online classes, if you have not participated, we have to report that you have not done that, and that can have impact on you continuing in the course, and it can actually have impact on financial aid if you're receiving any type of financial support. December 6th, that's the last class day for a face-to-face meeting. And then finals weeks is the 9th through the 13th. And again, each faculty in the online program is going to handle this a little bit differently. So know that your courses may be a little bit different in terms of when a final is administered, how it's administered, what the expectations are. This year, December 13th is graduate commencement. It usually hits about that time, so if you graduate in the fall, it's going to be somewhere between the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, something along those lines. You can always find these dates on the calendar that's on the website, but these are just some important ones to know for this semester. We're going to take now a look at some of the policies that will impact your matriculation through the program. First of all is academic standing, and you have to maintain good academic standing to be able to progress through the program. So what does good academic standing mean? First of all, in your field courses, that Social Work 553 and those Social Work 554 classes where you're actually in a field agency, you cannot earn below a C. You have to earn an A or a B, otherwise you have to repeat that whole field section. We typically try not to award D's and F's in field unless a student has really experienced some major complications in that setting and did not fulfill their obligations or meet the expectations. But we will award a C if you need to repeat it. We try to do this to help maintain your GPA because D's and F's are hard to overcome. You must have a 3.0 GPA to graduate. Okay, if your GPA drops below a 3.0, you can be actually placed on academic probation. And if it's not raised in that next semester, then you can actually be put on suspension. A student who receives a C or lower in 4 graduate courses can be suspended for 3 years. You can appeal that, but you cannot receive your degree. Your degree will not be conferred if you have 4 C's on your transcript. So we've had situations where students maintained a 3.0, but when it came time to confer their degree, they actually had 4 C's, and they had to come back and retake a class to eliminate one of those C's. So you can earn C's in some of your courses, but you really need to shoot to keep that 3.0. If you got 2 A's, 2 C's, you're going to have a B average, okay? You cannot earn a C in field, and you can't have more than 3 on your transcript to have your degree conferred. The graduate school has a requirement for all students earning a graduate degree that they have to pass a comprehensive exam. What we have done with ours is we've created a comprehensive exam that mirrors the social work license exam. So we have a 100 computer-based objective question exam that students take in their final semester. The semester you apply for graduation is the semester you also take the comprehensive exam. It's electronic, it's computer-based, the structure mirrors the licensure exam. We actually have study guides for those. They're located in each of the libraries at the physical settings. I don't think we can make those available online. However, you can purchase a study guide. I think that's about $150. The question bank for the comprehensive exam comes from those study guides. If you study those study guides throughout your semesters as you go through, you will not have a problem passing the comprehensive exam. Again, we've structured it so that you get used to taking the exam in a setting as you will take the exam for your license. Content's different, but you can pass the comprehensive exam if you take time to study those study guides we have provided for you. Again, it consists of 100 objective questions. The study guides are available. Each semester we schedule 2 dates for the comprehensive exam. They're generally sequential Fridays, so you've got one Friday and you've got the next Friday. So you can choose to take it the first date. If you're not successful, you can come back and take it the second date. You can just shoot for one. It makes no difference, but we offer 2 options each semester. The reason we do this is because you have 2 opportunities the semester you graduate to pass the comprehensive exam to be able to have your degree conferred. If you are not successful with those 2 opportunities, you'll have to appeal to the graduate school and receive a 3rd opportunity on the following semester. To be successful, you'll need to score a 70 on the exam. Again, like I said, you have 2 chances to take it in one semester. If you're not successful on those 2 attempts, then you appeal and then you'll take it the following semester. You don't have to re-register for classes, you don't have to pay for anything, but you have to come back that following semester to take the comprehensive exam. You have a total of 3 tries to pass the comprehensive exam to be able to be awarded your degree. Expected conduct in graduate school, and this has to do with assimilating again into the professional and ethical practice of social work, so we're going to just briefly look at some of these areas. The Code of Conduct, you're going to sign this and you're going to return this back, but you can download a copy under the content area in this orientation module. And it's based on the NASW Code of Ethics, the National Association of Social Work Code of Ethics. I encourage you to go download a copy of the Code of Ethics because this really guides the practice that we do, and it's going to be an important part of your field practicum in learning these Code of Ethics. Engaging in class, including an online class, is mandatory. And this means that there's 3 components to it, and there's appropriate verbal and nonverbal interactions with others. Verbal interactions may occur because you actually may have a synchronous component or a live component where you actually meet with everybody in a Google Hangout or in a setting and have discussions. It's nonverbal interactions, which is your postings, how you interact with individuals through email, written communication. All of this is very important, and we have to begin now to be cognizant of how we're presenting ourselves to others, especially from a social work professional perspective. Active involvement in your class activities is very important. These cannot be independent studies. There needs to be interactive engagement with peers in your setting, as well as your faculty member. Faculty members may be bringing in some speakers, and there may be some available for you to actually listen and be involved with those. Because you're going into a social work profession and it's human related and it's very action oriented, you may be required to go into the community and complete some activities, or to interview people, or to do other things outside of just what's posted in the online venue. So we expect involvement in all class activities and attentiveness to what's going on in the class. It's your responsibility to be on that online component and review dates, review activities, stay in touch with your instructor if you have questions. If you need something different than what's being offered, you need to share that with us and let us know, because we don't know if we're not told. We expect acceptable behavior and interactions with others inside and outside of the classroom. And this is because you're going to be actually interacting, again, in the community with field agencies, with partner agencies to the field agency you're in, with peers, instructors. We want you to treat everybody with respect, seek and respond appropriately to written verbal feedback. This is a learning and growth process, and sometimes we are told things that just initially brings up some defensiveness in us, and that's part of being human. But part of working towards being a professional is we have to recognize that, manage our minds, step back, say, okay, how can I use this opportunity to improve? Because these are things that we're going to be doing with our clients, and wanting our clients to accept verbal feedback and grow from it. And so we have to be willing to do that also. So having respect for others, we engage with a lot of vulnerable populations and with a lot of value-laden issues. We ask nobody to abandon their values or their opinions. However, as you're assimilating into the social work profession, you have to develop the skills to be able to work with individuals who are going to have direct conflict with your values and with your opinions, who directly conflict with what you believe is right and what is wrong. Every individual has worth. Every individual has dignity. Every individual has a right to the services that we provide, no matter what our value or opinion is. You will encounter populations that you simply cannot work with because you would do more harm than good. That's part of the self-awareness process, and that's important to recognize as you're learning and developing in this. Now, it's not carte blanche to say, I absolutely refuse. I'm not going to ever work with anybody in this situation. Let me give you an example. One of the populations that I just really can't work with from a therapeutic standpoint is going to be sexual offenders. Just something I can't wrap my mind around to work with. However, I worked in a hospital setting for almost 30 years. Many times, the patients that I was working with may have a history of sexual offending. I may or may not know that history depending on that patient's situation. However, they deserved the respect and the services that I provide to anybody in that healthcare setting, regardless of what their background was or what my opinion was about it. So that's something to think about, and to be able to treat everybody with respect. Differences of opinion, differences of thoughts, differences of values, it's a good thing. We don't want everybody to be like who we are or what we think, but we have to learn to engage with each other in productive commentary and respectful commentary so that we can all grow. So this begins that professional communication chain. And what we actually look for from our students, from our faculty members, from agencies and peers, is a professional communication, whether it be through an email, texting, social media, postings, anything that's electronic. There's a lot that can be missed there, and technology has certainly surpassed us in terms of ethics and laws and guidance and things like that. Now, NASW actually has entered some into the Code of Ethics, some comments and statements related to electronic communication that we need to be aware of. As you're becoming a social work professional, you're entering into a contract with society, and there's an expectation about how you're going to behave, how you're going to communicate, how you're going to present yourself. And this is what we're looking for as you're beginning to assimilate in the profession, is how we're learning to do that and how we're growing in those areas. Within the classroom, we have to be aware academic dishonesty. I'm just going to say right now, just don't do it. Academic dishonesty can be anything from purposeful plagiarism, and that means submitting a paper that maybe you've done in another program and you just submit it for an assignment in a class now. That can be actually copying other people's works, copying off of websites without proper citation, without following APA guidelines in terms of proper citation, presenting information in your own words. It can be cheating on a test. It can be taking credit for something that you did not do. Within our department, we take these actions very seriously because, again, you are assimilating into a profession in which we have an ethical responsibility to protect our clients. This includes through documentation. This includes through being honest about the services that we're providing, what we did provide, what we didn't provide. And I kind of look at if you actually submit an assignment that you did not generate, it is not your work, that's very similar to billing for a service you did not provide. So we have no way of knowing that you're going to, in the professional setting, not engage in the same actions you did in the academic setting. So we take academic dishonesty very serious. You will most likely go before our academic and professional issues committee, and there'll be consequences to that. So I say this at every orientation, and students are often taken aback that, oh my gosh, nobody would ever engage in academic dishonesty. But every semester we have students who do. Either they didn't put in the effort they needed to, they waited till the last minute, they thought they just had to put something out there. But that all reflects on how you're going to handle yourself in practice, and that becomes a very big concern to us. There's also a graduate school policy related to academic dishonesty, and if there is an accusation and evidence of academic dishonesty, it goes to the graduate school. And if you have 2 instances of it in the graduate school, you can actually be dismissed from the university. So all that said, we're going to set that aside, and we're not going to worry about it because I know none of you are going to engage in purposeful academic dishonesty. Just a little bit about additional information and resources. If you have any need for accommodations for your work, extra time on tests, if you have visual, hearing that you need extra services for, extra equipment for, you need to register with the Student Disabilities Office. We, as individual faculty members, cannot make individual accommodations for a student outside of the course syllabus unless we're directed from the Student Disability Services. So if you need those accommodations, you need to register with them. You can't come to us in mid-semester and say, oh, by the way, I actually have dyslexia and I need extra time and I've not been able to do well because of that. We can't make accommodations for you unless we have a directive from them. The course syllabus has to be applied objectively to everybody in the course, registered in the course in the same manner, again, unless we have directions from the Students with Disabilities Office. Again, the university homepage, you can go to that. What I will tell you at this point in time is, as of August 1st, our total webpage has changed, and many of us, including myself, are still learning to maneuver through it. Your MyLeo portal, again, is where you have your apps to get into your D2L, to get into email. You want to always check your university email. That is the main communication for the university to communicate with you, so you need to do that. The library database, you can go through the G Library to get into the library database. You can get almost everything you need electronically. You should not have to pay for any articles or anything like that. If you need to, reach out to the librarians and they will help you with anything that you need to find through the library. But we have vast resources that are available electronic through the library, and you might want to become familiar with this because you are going to be using this frequently for your papers within your program. And just a little statement about the cost. Actually, our MSW program in the state of Texas, we are the one of the if not the most cost efficient ones available out there for you. So that's important to know. No matter where you earn your MSW degree, whether it be from University of Southern California, Baylor, Texas A&M Commerce, Florida State, Council on Social Work Education provides accreditation for all those programs. Competencies are the same for all those programs. Some of the programs may have a few more bells and whistles in terms of a direct practice orientation or something specific. But at this point in time in the United States, there's no prestige to earning your degree, your social work degree, from one university over the other. Everything is pretty much governed under the same CSWE standards. Therefore, we don't see any sense in spending $80,000 to earn an MSW degree at one of the private institutions when you can earn the same degree for much less. As a social worker, you're going to earn a good living. You will not become rich, but you will earn a good living, and you don't want to enter into the profession with huge student debt. So we're very proud that we can actually offer our degree as one of the most cost-effective degrees in the state of Texas. Again, some other brief resources: the Financial Aid Office, where you can find some assistance on campus, mailing address. I'm just going to touch on a few things about field. You won't be going into your first field placement until spring of 2020 if you remain full-time. Full-time fall, full-time spring. Again, you do your field practicum for your foundation sequence on the final semester as you're completing your classes for that sequence before you go into AGP. You have to complete field before you can go into the AGP program. Mr. Brumley will be in touch with everybody somewhere around end of September, mid-October, to begin explaining to you the process for applying for a field practicum. But I want you to start thinking about this now, because for one semester, the spring semester, if you're going into field, Social Work 553, you will need to select an agency, and you will be at that agency 2 days a week. When you go into the AGP program, you're going to select a different agency, and you're going to be in that agency for 3 months. So for the small fields, the one semester field, we really encourage students to step out of your comfort zone, do something that you just never thought you'd want to do, expose yourself to something totally different, because you can do anything for one semester. The area that you would really like to concentrate in, choose that for your long field setting, your 3-semester setting. For those of you who want to do a field practicum at your place of employment, there are some things that have to happen to ensure that that's possible. You cannot be working in the job you're being paid for your field hours. You have to have something totally separate, and you have to have a totally separate supervisor. There's a process for getting this approved, and again, Mr. Brumley is going to walk you through all of this. You can find a lot of the information and a lot of the forms, again, about the field. If you go to our main website, go to the PDF form directory, go to the MSW field forms, and you can start looking there at this point in time. We also have a list of all the agencies that we have affiliations with, which would give you an idea of where you might want to do your field placement. So again, like we said, Social Work 553, the field practicum, it's for foundation. It's only offered in spring semesters. If you're full-time, you will begin it next spring. Mr. Brumley will be in touch with you to provide the field orientation. You are going to be required to purchase TK20. TK20 is a software package that we use to manage all of our field practicum components. So it's similar to a book fee. He will walk you through that process, explain to you how to do that when you need to do that for next semester. Or before, you'll actually do it before next semester, I believe, because you have to put your application in there so then he can work on placing you. But he will be in touch with you to walk you through this process. Again, this slide gives you a brief overview of the TK20. You'll have to complete the field practicum 160 clock hours in a field setting. The other thing that we cannot do, and Council on Social Work Education is very specific about that, we do not accept employment experience or life experience in place of any aspect of the academic component, including field hours. You have to complete these. So think ahead about how to manage working in an agency 2 days per week while you're attending school and potentially working full-time. Students do it. All of your faculty did this, so know that any faculty that is teaching you, we also did this because Counseling and Social Work Education requires for somebody to teach in a master's program, they have to have an MSW degree and they have to have 2 years post-master's experience. Therefore, all of us have our MSW degrees, so we had to balance this and do those hours within those settings. It's a very important part of your learning process, and we hope that you just embrace it and look at it as a great opportunity instead of a barrier. This is Mr. Brumley's information and Miss Anderson's information. Again, they're the ones that are going to be able to answer specific questions related to field and help you with those processes when it becomes time. Now that you've finished listening to me in this orientation, you're going to need to locate that content area in this orientation module. You'll download the orientation acknowledgement form, the student code of conduct form, and a degree plan. Either select the full-time or the part-time. You're going to need to complete and sign these. We will allow you to type in your signature if you don't have a way to electronically sign the form. But typing in your name constitutes your legal signature and your acknowledgement of these forms and the content of these forms. Then you're going to need to email these to Janice Circles. Once she receives these forms, she knows that you've completed the orientation process, and then she'll begin the process to permit you for class registration. Again, I want to thank you for choosing Texas A&M University Commerce School of Social Work. We believe it's the best in the United States, and we think that you have made an excellent decision to become a part of our team and our future graduates. And I want to welcome you to our program. If you have any questions, concerns, now, in the future, throughout the program, I encourage you to reach out to any of us within our department. Everybody in our department is amazingly helpful. We're helpful to each other and we're helpful to students. So don't hesitate to do that as we're moving forward. I look forward to having you in class, and I hope you have a great fall semester.